everybody, Josh with OIHT here again with a quick introduction. Today's video is a conversation we had the chance to have with our friend Chris from Crept from the 80s on YouTube. Follow him on Instagram at Warlock Home Video. He makes some great nostalgic content. If you're a fan of pop culture, 80s and 90s nostalgia, please go give him a follow. Click that subscribe and notification bell over at Crept from the 80s on YouTube. And if you're new to OIHT, click subscribe, click that notification bell. We have more nostalgic content coming your way. Please enjoy today's conversation. We get into some Christmas horror as well as general Christmas memories. 'Tis the season for OIHT.
Greetings, one and all. Welcome to a Christmas yet erotically epic Christmas episode of A Crept from the 80s. I am here with Josh of Oh, I Had That? Oh, I Had That.
I had it, I say.
Once again, back together to talk about nostalgia.
Yeah, let's do it.
And this time we're going to be talking about two classic Christmas horror films. And just Christmas shenanigans in general. 'Tis the season. And Christmas, for me anyway, and I'm sure Josh the same, but Christmas evokes plenty of 80s feelings for me, nostalgic feelings, childhood feelings. I'm somebody who still gets very excited for the Christmas season, and everyone knows that it is my favorite holiday of all time, much to horror fans' chagrin. But for me, it's like Halloween is every day. So
Yeah,
if you're a horror fan and you sort of live your life that way, it's just all around. Yes, Halloween can be a heightened fun time, and it is, but Christmas will always be number one for me.
much to the chagrin of horror fans, there will be no joy.
Yeah. Well, it's just what? Halloween's not your favorite holiday? Sorry, bro.
Yeah, I like to watch spooky movies and bask in Halloween all year. So
yeah, and most
Christmas is special.
Most horror fans do, but Christmas it's that for me, Christmas starts like November 1st, and it lasts until I don't know, January 1st, pretty much.
February.
But yeah, how about you? What's your feelings on Christmas, Josh?
Yeah. Bah humbug. No, I mean, it's Christmas. You have to love Christmas. We started a little late this year. I didn't get the lights outside on the house until like last weekend. But the tree's been up a while. The indoor has been decorated. The joy is here. Time to bake some cookies. But yeah, I'm ready. I was excited to watch some Christmas horror in preparation for speaking with you today. But man, this year flew by though. I can't believe it's already Christmas. I blinked and it was here. So I had to, generally a Monster Squad has been behind my TV there. I had to put Kevin up behind the TV, get in the spirit. So decorated the room as well.
Yeah, we start decorating like mid-November.
Nice.
In the house, outside. And then, Black Friday is when we do the tree. We always go out to a tree farm and grab a real tree.
A real tree?
Yes, that's right. A real tree. Makes the house smell delicious, Christmassy.
Pine needles in my sock.
Actually, it's not too bad, It's not too bad. And we have 4 cats, and none of the cats get into it.
Clark! I can't remember the last time I was around a real tree. Wow.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, and like my wife is also super into Christmas, so like
Yes.
we one tree isn't enough. So we have fake trees
Nice.
around the house, but
Yeah.
the living room is always a real tree. So
Nice.
the cats do get in the fake tree. So
Well, that's weird that they'll go in the fake one, but not the real one.
I think probably because we also start getting presents in October.
Ah,
Um so we have wrapped presents already, like, around the tree,
nice.
so there's a good wall of stuff, so the cats can't, like, get behind that yet, but the other ones, they can just I mean, I don't know why we keep doing it, especially putting up bulbs and stuff, because the cats just get right up in it and just knock them all off, so, um,
Knock
you
the
know
tree over.
but yeah, so you recommended, we do these movies, we talk about these flicks, and they're both celebrating anniversaries this
Yeah,
year.
I saw that. That's crazy.
Um, we are going to talk about the 50th anniversary of Bob Clark's Black Christmas and the 40th anniversary of one of the most controversial Christmas horror films of all time, Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Oh man, controversial indeed.
Yeah. Um, and you just recently watched both of them. Um,
I did, yes. Black Christmas is one I was more familiar with. I think I've actually watched the entire film in the past, but it's been a couple decades. And Silent Night, Deadly Night, I've not seen more than clips.
okay.
There's been several years when I've like wanting to go see it at a local drive-in that shows it, and I just always miss out. So it was cool to finally watch it, and I'm mad that it took so long because we'll talk about it when we get into that one.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I prepped this week. I even attempted to watch 2006's Black Christmas, and
Mm.
I couldn't do it. I stopped it.
Yeah, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I don't like the newer one either.
Yeah, it's
They
crazy. It's had two remakes.
they did one a couple years ago, and it was
Yeah,
also pretty abysmal, as far as I'm concerned. I know people do like those two movies, but they're not for me. Not for me.
yeah.
But yeah, so Black Christmas and Silent Night, Deadly Night are yearly staples for us. Um, you
I can see
know,
why. It makes sense now.
I even before my wife and I had these traditions. They were yearly watches. Uh, they definitely are an acquired taste for some because they're not, you know, uh, particularly Silent Night, Deadly Night. They're not for everybody. It's not for,
Yeah.
you know, they aren't. I would say because there's fun horror Christmas movies, and then there's these two, um, and they're on the more traditional, serious, or scummy side of horror, for sure. Like I would say something like, you know, Santa's Sleigh is a fun Christmas horror movie. Uh, Jack Frost, the Killer Snowman, that's a fun, stupid Christmas horror movie. You know,
Yeah,
even
really.
the new Violent Night,
Mm,
which is amazing,
I love
um,
that one. Yeah.
super fun. No, this is this is the grimy side.
I was gonna interject. I think that Black Christmas, like you said, although it is like more like you said scummy, but I think it's pretty tame. But yes, it's like a dark
It
horror.
is, but I just mean like the tone.
Yeah.
the tone is, and specifically, I mean, Bob Clark, he's done a couple of horror movies,
Hmm.
but he's mostly known for his comedies. Um, so, and and there's Bob Clark isms in the film. I think there's certainly some characters you can relate to, but also there's somebody on the phone who's being
Um,
extremely vulgar and disgusting and vile to these
I
women.
I took notes and I just wrote moaner.
Yeah, man.
The moaner again. Oh man, this yeah, that would probably be the I guess the scummiest part of the film
Yeah,
is the moaner, just the things that he's saying. But yeah, overall, I made a note of that. I actually love that there's like zero gore. That it's just all like insinuated. It's all just like edge of your seat, like you know
yeah, it's
the way they
tension,
go at it. Yeah, tension exactly.
suspense. Yeah, it's interesting. I think like most people sort of have that like idea of, oh well, if it's a horror movie, then it is going to be violent and bloody and all of that stuff, and maybe people aren't giving it a shot because of that, you know. Um, but again, like as far as I'm concerned, I think of Black Christmas as a classic.
Yeah,
Um, so maybe it is far more revered than I think it is. If
yeah,
they're willing to put it back into theaters for the 50th anniversary, that they must know that there's an audience for it out there. Um, that people do
yeah.
actually really love this movie.
Oh, are there going to be screenings of it like for the anniversary, or did they already do that?
They did it, yeah,
Oh wow, that's
yeah.
awesome.
They did it around the country, yeah.
Oh wow. I missed. I would have went and saw it there. Yeah, it was. I actually really enjoy that it's implied. Um, the killings are barely on the screen. It's.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
like. It's a change of pace because I think that, especially in newer, like if you're gonna get the tag of horror, it's like they go for it. It's like over the top sometimes, just basking in it. And I mean, I love special effects and
yeah,
the blood and the guts at times, but then at other times it's like, come on, it's too much. Or in this case, it's just not necessary. They
yeah.
succeeded without it.
I
You
was gonna
know?
say it's not needed in this story.
Yeah,
They're able to, you know, pull off that dread just
yeah,
with atmosphere and you know just the creepiness of it all. I mean, the atmosphere of this movie is so creepy, and yet it is also very Christmassy. It has that dual feeling, um, because of the time period it was, because of the film grain and all of that stuff. It's a very um, just a I don't know. It for me, and this is going to be weird, but for me, and this is why we watch it every year. It's kind of a warm, it's a warm Christmas movie, even though it's about some terrible subject matter.
but I totally get that because I was going to say that I even made a note of it that it parts of it really like invoke the feeling in it's a different tone, but in what the feelings I get when I watch Gremlins, it's like dark
Yeah,
Christmas.
yeah,
Like the lighting is pretty much the Christmas decorations. There's sometimes just like kind of like an eeriness to it, especially the scenes where like the mom is in the house in Gremlins, like pops out of the tree, like that's so like so yeah, I really can understand where you're coming from when it's just kind of like the comfort of it, like being a Christmas movie. But
yeah. And
uh,
Gremlins is the same way, you
yeah,
know. And I get that same comfort from something like A Christmas Story. You know what I mean? Like uh, it's just with Black Christmas with these horror films, you get that extra.
Yeah.
the extra dread. You know, they're giving you a little extra, ooh, keep you on your toes. Better watch out, you know?
Yeah, and also it was great, even though it's 1974, it was like that predates me. It was great to see familiar faces, like recognizing some of the actors. Like when John Saxon pops up, I'm just like, what? Of course, Nightmare on Elm Street is he gets often, but I love Nightmare Beach as well. So uh, that's one that might not be on everyone's radar, but check it out if you like John Saxon. But yeah, like Margot Kidder and what's her name, Olivia from Romeo
Olivia
and
Hussey.
Juliet.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, and Andrea Martin, who is
I
always
know.
fantastic. Which is funny, Andrea Martin's in the 2006 remake, so that was kind of cool that they
Yeah.
did that nod.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was cool to know a handful of the people, and man, Margot Kidder is just the worst in this movie
She
as
is the
far as
worst.
the character. But yeah, it was a fun watch, man. It'll be one that I will watch more often because of it. Watching it now and finding out how much I enjoyed it. Because I hadn't revisited it in a long time, but there's like snippets of it that I was like I recalled as I watched. But I really love the style of it, the look of it, the POV like the of the killer, and that being all implied is fantastic. So
Did you remember what happens at the end?
I didn't actually. So like I made notes of the ending. So like um just the fact that they just leave, that they like, even a cop comes in and turns the lights off, they just leave the girl in the bed all alone. She survived like who they thought is the killer, and took him out, but we're just gonna leave her alone in the house where it all happened and put a
Yeah.
guy outside.
Yeah.
So that was kind of like, and the fact that they just apparently didn't do a thorough search of this place. So that was
Yeah.
incredible that there's that many police involved at the end, and the way that it ends. I don't spoil it for everyone if you haven't seen
Yeah.
it, but
Yeah.
um but yeah, the I also made a note. I don't know entirely what I meant, but it was about the kids caroling and how spooky that was, and it set the tone. But yeah, that was great. I loved how creepy Peter was the entire time. Just
Yeah.
a creep.
Yeah. 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 Well,
Uh,
they want those red herrings, you know?
yeah, yeah.
And
Total creep though. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think I touched on most of the notes that I made, but man, that again, I can't say it enough how much I enjoyed like just watching a movie that has tension without like having to go over the top with the kills. Just so awesome. Chef's kiss to this one. It was a I could totally see how you have those feelings and have to watch it every year.
yeah, you know, it's interesting. My wife had never seen any of these Christmas horror movies
Hmm.
until, you know, I infected her life.
Till you came
Uh,
along.
and I was shocked that she liked both of these.
Yeah.
Um, and insists on watching them every year. It really, you know, it's shocking, but it's also, as a horror fan, and as her as my partner, it's just pretty cool that you know, she's like, "Hey, we didn't watch this yet. You know, we got to watch this." And
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, that's great." You know, um, but her favorite horror movie is The Thing, uh,
Oh.
which we also try to watch in the winter every year
Mm,
because of the setting.
so good.
Yeah, but that's a movie that still freaks her out, even though she's seen it a million times. But yeah, you know, the I was knowing what my wife is into.
Mhm.
The fact that Black Christmas and Silent Night, Deadly Night, she's like, "Yeah, man, let's do this." you know, uh, so
More
that's kind of
power
cool.
to her for also embracing Night, Deadly Night, which we'll talk about here. But woof, that the first half hour or so is that really tests you. If you're gonna like this movie or get through that first half hour is like really asking the question, like, are you in? Are you in?
Yeah, yeah. And it's funny. Okay, well, yeah, let's go into Silent Night, Deadly Night. You
I
know,
think unless you had more to say on Black Christmas, I think Black Christmas was
no,
great.
yeah, it's a classic. It's clearly stood the test of time.
It was so great to see Andrea Martin like look like 20 yet 75 all at the same time.
Yeah, yeah, she's always looked the same, pretty much.
Yeah. But Silent Night, Deadly Night, I just you can intro it. You're the pro here. They're the expert.
40 years of this movie. This one, I I love. I love this movie. I love it more than Black Christmas.
Oh,
Um, uh, and I think because I'm such a big fan of slasher movies,
mhm.
and I'm a fan of fun slasher movies, and this borders on that type of movie, but doesn't quite get there just because it is so sleazy. Um,
Man. But it's quick. It moves fast. It's like a freight train.
oh yeah, yeah. Um, and I think Billy is a great, you know, antagonist.
Oh my god.
um, there's some ridiculous kills in it, some laugh out loud kills in it. Um, but yeah, I mean, outside of that beginning, which you know, eh, that's where the sleaze comes in.
Oh
I
man,
mean,
it's brutal. It's so brutal.
it's a very rough and tumble, gritty, gross, sleazy opening. Um,
Yeah, you're like wiping the sweat off your brow after that.
um, with Old Man Peabody from Back to the Future.
Oh, that
He's
is. I actually did recognize him. I
yeah,
was like, what?
that's
I don't know
Grandpa.
what
That's
else he's been in, but
creepy Grandpa. You
oh
know,
man. But yeah, I noted I just put brutal opening in my. But yeah, if you can get through that and make it to grown up Billy, you're in for a treat. Because yeah, it only goes uphill from there.
yeah.
But of course,
So
you have to have the flashbacks of what you watched earlier that you're just like, oh, stomach turns.
yeah, yeah. But it does jump into more typical slasher territory, 80s
Yeah.
slasher territory. And I mean, Billy's rage alone is insanity, and they're depicting this guy as having like superhuman strength when he goes nuts. you know, um, so that stuff is always fun for me. Um,
I will say, just like no real development of the character for us to be like, oh yeah, this makes sense why he's snapping so hardcore right now. Like that he's been through some shit, but at the same time, it's just so quick that um like
yeah,
you said, it's like the strength of him and the brutality. You're like, what?
there's no sympathy for Billy. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? Like he could get help.
he
You know?
could have just stopped. It was like, bro, you don't need to do this right now.
Yeah, we get it. Santa Claus, Christmas,
Um,
rough time for you.
when when they roll out the banner and he just starts shaking,
Yeah,
looking.
I know.
Oh
Um,
man.
so Iris Toys, that
Oh
whole toy store is amazing.
oh my God, Iris Toys. I just that right when that scene comes into play, I'm like, what am I watching right now? Where have you been my whole life? Like to know that this is early mid 80s and they're showing us like Masters of the Universe on the shelf and Ben Cooper costumes hanging on the wall. Like, I love that those Halloween costumes are there, even though it's Christmas time. You know, it was like great to see those. But that whole store, I just made a note of like, and that introduction where it's like what was Mr. Sims? Sims is he was just a sleazeball and
Oh yeah, and he's in a lot of movies.
oh yeah, right away you're like, oh that guy.
Yeah, he's Gary's dad from Weird Science.
That is right.
Anthony Michael Hall's dad. Um, but yeah, that scene in particular, or all those scenes at the toy store, are sort of very famous with 80s nostalgia junkies because of the lingering shots, because of all the magic that you see on the shelves and everything. Yeah, I don't know, man. I really like where it goes. There's nobody really, as far as I'm concerned, other than the main sister,
Mhm.
but there's nobody really to root for in the film, you know,
There
because
isn't even the love you think is the love interest right away is like
yeah,
gets a little sip of alcohol and she's making out with a sleazy 40-year-old in the back and
yeah, and she's basically about to get raped,
yeah,
and
it's terrible.
Billy does her Billy does his thing, and she's still like, "You psycho son of a bitch," like,
Just
not like, "Oh my god, you saved me,"
yeah,
like,
like, "Thank you for getting this sleazeball off of me, Billy, you saved me," but it just starts yelling at him, but she didn't ha last long either at that moment.
no, like but outs like I said, the sister who was really trying to help him from when he was young, to the end, she's the
Yeah,
only redeemable character in the whole movie. The cops are knuckleheads. The cops
yeah.
are kill somebody.
Just a random Santa, like, just shoot
Uh,
I swear he shot from, like, 100 yards, like,
yeah, yeah.
but, yeah, I was gonna say just to, like, kinda step through it and go back a little bit, like, the Iris Toys, like, the montage with that
Oh,
song, what's that, "Love on the Other Side of the
it's the
Door."
warm side of the door.
Oh my
Um,
gosh,
that is another classic amongst horror fans.
that
Um,
whole montage was like, "I want this in my life every day on repeat."
you can get the soundtrack from terrorvision.com.
Oh,
They
man.
offer the soundtrack not only on cassette, but on CD as well.
I mean, yeah, that song is fantastic, but it's taken to a whole nother level with the actual video of the film.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the montage of him working and being the ideal employee. And like the perfect moment was Mr. Sims coming through the door and he's just like
I know.
watching
Yeah.
him work and smiling at him. Oh, Billy. Like just so great. And then just stepping through watching it, just I made notes like the dream sequence where it shows us that that's his love interest that he desires and just his big old hairy butt and but yeah, like it just like I said, it moves so quick. So like no one has a chance to be redeemable really, and no one is in it that long. Like they develop through his dream and like him looking at her and her being nice to him, like that he is interested in her, but then she's gone in a flash. It's like crazy. But I actually would have enjoyed the movie even more if it was like all in that toy store. Like I envision the way they set it up too. It's just like there's already like 5 to 6 people in the building with him. If
Yeah.
it would have been just a larger, like a department store or something, it probably I could have made it last. Like
Yeah.
the
Like a
size or the scale of the toy store, it's just like, oh, we got to get him out of here to make a whole movie out of this. But it felt like because the way they set it up like that, like it could have taken place in one location and been pretty amazing. But because everything after he leaves is just kind of like a blur too. Like it's no other scene or like location really like hit me as hard as that toy store did, I guess.
Well,
So, I
that's
mean, aside from the nostalgia of it, just I felt like it was the strongest part of the film.
there's
Um,
some good kills though, man. Like I said, like really ridiculous kills.
yeah, the like deer on the wall was fantastic.
Yeah, with Linnea Quigley, and then the the two cool dudes who are sledding, who
Oh
look
my
like they're
god,
like 35. They're like, "Woohoo! Yeah, let's do it!"
you're gonna steal our sled, bro. Yeah, that was
Woo.
pretty fantastic. Just the silliness of it and the two dweebs that they take it from. But
Yeah.
yeah, and I even like after I watched it, we were interacting via text, and I asked you, "Is it normal?" Because like I was streaming it, and the copy that I'm seeing, it's like HD, perfect quality, and then all of a sudden it's like a scene where it looks like it was a VHS someone ran over,
Yeah.
and then it cuts back to like perfect quality. And you were saying that's because they were introducing like gore into it, and that's like all they couldn't. That's all they had for quality, or
Yeah, it's just the available tapes that they had to intercut the the bloodier scenes in the movie.
so
And
is
it's
that a version that's is that not the theatrical version then? All those kills they were not in there when it was
well, yes, I mean you do get some of them, but the added like anytime you see the the degradation of quality, that's just when they pump in the stuff that was cut, you know.
oh, okay.
And so on the Scream Factory Blu-ray, they offer you both cuts.
Okay.
Um,
Because some of it seemed like, why would this have been cut? Like this seems like they needed this, but it was really cut. So that would have been weird. So like Lene Quigley, like that, there was stuff there where they're on the pool table and whatnot that I think it went down in quality. It's like, how did they introduce these characters then if that was cut from the movie? They just must have really ran at the kill.
yeah,
Um,
you'll just have to. Yeah, I mean, you'll see. I mean, well,
I'm gonna have to watch, yeah, the other version to get it
yeah.
because yeah, that threw me. So I was like, is this normal or am I seeing some like a shitty copy?
And
um,
so for me, I had only ever seen, um, the theatrical version on
oh, okay.
VHS or when the first DVDs came out. Um, and so the the intro of all the cut stuff, it didn't add really much to the film for me.
Yeah,
I guess completists would find it really awesome. Uh, like I know right now there's people who are complaining that the 4K version that just came out from Scream Factory is only the theatrical and not the uncut. But it's like you're not going to be able to upscale that shit to 4K anyway. I just like, who cares?
yeah, like
Like,
it wouldn't look good.
I
You'd
mean,
have parts that look even more amazing, and then other parts that still like I think it would look even worse than what the other one did with it.
yeah.
Um, but I am curious though to see though what wasn't in there and that see that version of it. Then I wonder if it flows better too. But yeah, there's like even in Iris Toys, like the party, there's stuff with Mr. Sims that obviously wasn't in the film, like them just chit chatting,
And I
and
think
then
it's just cut for time. You
yeah,
know, I,
yeah.
I think they just wanted to speed this thing along. You know,
Man, because that one was so short. I wonder what is the running time of the theatrical one?
a
Like
cool 43 minutes.
that would make sense. Um, but yeah, I'll have to watch it again with that version in particular. Speaking of like you were saying like theatrical and VHS like version of it, a VHS of that movie is like $300. So I'm like, are you crazy?
Yeah, I remember my buddy Andrew when he was here a few years ago. We have this place called Record Archive,
Mhm.
and it's just a giant music store. But they've also got they sell movies on Blu-ray, DVD, and VHS, and they have this special section where all the like more pricey
Oh yeah.
VHS would be, and it's of course it's horror VHS. Um, and they had a big box of Silent Night, Deadly Night from back then,
Wow.
and but they I think it was only like 35 $40. So Andrew was like, yoink, I'm I'm getting it. So he
Yeah.
swiped that really quick. And this was like a few years ago.
That's crazy that it was
Yeah,
that cheap
the
a
big
few.
box for the big box. Yeah.
Wow.
But yeah, it does for some reason go, for big prices.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate too that like horror VHS especially has to be so pricey. Like I just love collecting any genre of VHS. Like I got back into VHS like a handful of years ago, so like trying to beef out like and get the collection going for like the horror section is just like I just have realized oh it's probably just easier to get some good Blu-rays of these movies that I want to own in the horror genre, especially because some of them are just impossible to be able to get for a decent price. So I have like staples. I mean, there's millions of Halloweens and Friday the 13th and Nightmares on Elm Street. So I have all of those. But yeah, like these more under the radar films too. Yeah, it's crazy what they're going for. People are already nuts on eBay, but for horror VHS, it seems even worse.
It's because they know there's,
Yeah,
a
people that'll
market.
pay it.
There's VHS heads who will pay, you know.
But yeah, that makes me excited to see the original cut of it because this one seemed like so quick and short. I couldn't. It didn't seem like there was added footage, but the way the degradation and the look of it, that makes sense. That's the reason. But yeah, what a great like character. Just punish every kill. Punish.
Naughty. Yeah, I just recently met him at Horror Hound Weekend.
Oh wow,
I was pumped. I was so excited.
awesome.
Yeah. And he's thrilled, because he's one of those guys who like they drag him out of obscurity, and we're like, hey, no, there's a whole scene of people who fucking flip out for this movie. So he's one of those guys who's like, what? I had no idea that this like had like such a fever for it. So
That's
he's
awesome.
always thrilled to meet fans and everything. And
How long has he been like doing cons and stuff for
it
it?
seems like now maybe about 10 years.
Oh, okay.
Um, but
Robert Brian Wilson, huh?
yeah, and
But yeah, he was a beefcake of a guy in that movie. Like when she's trying to get him a job at the toy store and Mr. Sims is just blowing her off and then he walks in and it's like, whoa, is Mr. Sims want Billy right now? But yeah, it was fun. It was a fun movie. The box cutter of killing of the love interest, like that was fantastic.
have you seen part two?
I have not yet, so I don't know. I've heard like mixed things, but I mean, even this movie, it's like this one was even you love it or hate it. So
Yeah, I mean, I used to like part two, but now I don't I don't really care as much.
so
Because
that
essentially part two is really just a recap of part one. Like
and it's supposed to be like his brother, right?
yeah, it's his
Yeah.
brother. But I don't think there's enough that they added to sustain an actual full movie about this guy, this kid who has also turned psycho. You know what
And
I mean? Like,
tell me if I'm wrong, but was the last like the shot at the end of one? Is that the brother that is
so
still in the orphanage?
his little brother is there, yeah.
And he's the one that like has the last word of
And
one.
he saw it all. He
Yeah,
was
yeah.
there. You know what I mean?
Not
Um, and
what does he
so
say? Naughty or punish at the end? Was
part two, he's just retelling the story of part one,
oh
and they're just showing it. You know?
oh really?
Oh yeah, I mean, like more than half of part two is part one.
It's like a
They
recap review. We'll make it a sequel, but it's just showing one again.
really, I mean, it's kind of annoying.
Oh,
I'm sure you've seen the
awesome.
clip of Garbage Day.
I don't think so.
Oh, the guy who's coming out with his trash can, and then he gets
Hmm.
shot in slow motion, and the kid goes, "Garbage Day." That's from part 2.
Okay, now I got to watch part 2 because that's hilarious though that they just use half of the first one.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I couldn't believe there's like 5 of them. Like, where are 3, 4, and 5 just not related? Or
So 3 is, but it's pretty terrible.
yeah,
4 and 5 are not. 4 and 5 have nothing to do. 4 is okay. 4 is cool just because of the amount of special effects houses were a part of it. So there's a lot of like, effects teams doing some weird shit in
yeah,
4. 5, like I said, is just pure so bad it's good. Like 5 is so ridiculous. And it's such a great watch.
yeah.
It's just dumb, stupid fun, but it's played so straight. Um, it's got Mickey Rooney in it as the villain. And
Oh,
it's so ridiculous. Um,
I'll have to watch it. Is it akin to what the Slumber Party Massacre? I think it's part 2. That's like more of like a goofy. Is it kind of like that feel?
yes, yes, but I think Slumber Party Massacre 2. They know what they're doing. They're having
Yeah,
a great
they're
time.
aware of it.
Oh
This
yeah,
one wasn't trying.
this is them really being a serious horror movie, but it's bonkers. It's so ridiculous. You know.
Yeah, but just if you're nostalgia, I mean, if you're watching either of our YouTube channels, you are a nostalgia fan. So if you have not seen Silent Night, Deadly Night, I would definitely say watch it just for that factor. For the first good half of the movie, is the toy store man is
Yeah.
perfect. I loved it. I even noticed in the background there was this awesome monster makeup kit that I was like, ooh, pause. I want to track that down.
Uh, yeah.
But I
Uh,
enjoyed it. I enjoyed it. I'll have to watch it again. But that like I said, that first opening scene in the
mhm.
orphanage at the beginning is just kind of like, this is the test to see if you're in. But that's so awesome. I'm glad that Billy's out there doing cons. I'll have to look out for him. It'd be cool to have a photo with him.
Yeah, I got a
You put on
photo.
Santa gear for the photo.
No, sometimes he does. So like he's one of the guys who will do um, at the table photos,
Yeah,
and he'll do like the pro photo op. And if you're doing the pro photo op, he is in the Santa suit and a fake
that's
axe. He's got a
that's
fake axe
awesome.
and everything. Um,
That's awesome.
but
Just that whole like his reactions to Santa, like on the banner, and then when they put him in the Santa suit, I was just like, oh, this is not gonna be good.
yeah.
But yeah, man, Christmas horror. There's so many like since then that of enjoyable Christmas horror, like um the what was it? Tales from the Crypt episode,
Uh-huh.
All Through
Yeah.
the House. Like what a class. We were chatting about that one. Like I saw that a few times growing up, but like watching it again I watched it like last week. I was just like, oh my god, this is so great from beginning to end. But I mean, Zemeckis, man. But he does have bombs. The the most recent Zemeckis movie was not good, so there's that. But I mean, Back to the Future is like a perfect film and my favorite film of all time. So seeing him do something else that's just perfect from beginning to end was a, just as a fan a proud moment. So it was cool to watch it again because I hadn't seen it probably since maybe the early 2000s.
Okay.
Like, so to watch it again last week was pretty great. So yeah, Christmas horror is going to be something that I try to introduce to my son to as he gets older here. Maybe he'll enjoy some with me. I'm always like, I can't wait till you can watch some spooky movies with me, buddy, because he's only 8 right now, so things are still a little bit too much for him. I remember seeing stuff at that age, and I'm like,
Yeah, I was very young.
no, but but man, I just
Yeah.
like thinking about the beginning of Silent Night, Deadly Night is like, let's talk about joyous memories. Yeah, but it was cool to see, man, because yeah, like I said, I was not as familiar with this one. Just I knew of it and have seen clips, but seeing the toy that montage in particular made me a fan.
I think for shits and giggles, I would seek out and watch part 2, you
Yeah.
know? And then part 5 if you really wanna just laugh at it.
Yeah, it's crazy. You can get 3, 4, and 5 on Blu-ray for like $13 or something. It's
Yeah.
but yeah, I'll have to I can't wait to watch the theatrical of 1 and then I'll have to give 2 a watch.
I think 2, 4, and 5 are on Tubi.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know if Tubi can handle 1.
it might be on one it might be
Yeah.
on, I don't know if it is, but
Christmas, what should we talk about? We got some time here. Did you have Christmas memories that you wanted to discuss?
well, I guess I wanted to see where you were coming from, uh, for your Christmases, because 'cause I've talked about mine ad nauseum, you know? Um,
Many years now. Especially on YouTube, a veteran here, so we can go back and see all of your memories.
yeah,
Uh,
it's like, what more can I do? Casey and I were just talking about, like, what can we do for our Christmas themed episodes that we haven't already done before? There's only so many times you can talk about our Christmas holy grails, you know?
yeah.
Um, but I guess I still haven't gotten those holy grails, so I can still talk about 'em. You know what I mean?
Oh, really? What is the one at the top of your list that you still haven't got?
Um, man, I loved the Matchbox Voltron 3 Go Lion set, which was 1984, and they used to sell the die-cast Voltron lions separately, but this was a set. This was called Voltron 3, which was the Go Lion, which was what we grew up with in the 80s. I didn't really see the the machine Voltron that was out there, the cars and the machine and the spaceships and stuff like that. I always saw Voltron Defender of the Universe. So it was the lions and the pilots and everything. Um, but I had the full set, and it came in the full set, and it was die cast and plastic, and it was the lions, and then you connected it all to film to form Voltron. Um, and it was like 11 to 12 inches back then, which was fucking huge for a toy. Uh, and I loved it, And I had the Panache Place Voltron stuff, but this one was always very special to me. And throughout the years, I've never gotten it back because I'm very, you may have heard me talk about this before, but I'm very like I don't spend a lot of money on myself.
Yeah.
Um, and the idea of spending like say $160 on one thing just kind of I can't do it. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I'm like,
Is that what it goes for these days?
it can,
Yeah.
it can. Anything like hitting 100 for me is
Yeah.
almost really it's tough for me to pull the trigger.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter how bad that I want these things, because I'm always like, well, I can get 5 things for $100, as opposed to just this one.
Yeah, I'm the same way. And it's like it makes you think back and it's like no wonder our dads were so stoked for like some new socks or something at Christmas because they weren't really. I'm in the same position. You're as a father, you're not really spending on you anymore, especially around Christmas.
Yeah,
You're
you
worrying
know.
about the kiddos. But yeah, like I can't. Anything hits like 80 to 100, I'm already like, oh, I don't know. Do I really need that?
So that's why I have, so many lists. I've got 2 Amazon wish lists, then I have a list that I add to on my phone
Yeah,
of just things throughout the years that I want. So I just add them and dole them out for Christmas and birthdays, and maybe someone gets them, maybe they don't.
yeah.
Um, you know, uh, but that's one that still sort of eludes me. Um, the that Voltron, I love it, and anytime I see it in like a vintage store, like I get like a little tinge of
Yeah.
nostalgia, and I want to grab it and I want to buy it, but I'm like, oh, they've got it for like 135. I can't do it. I've got a buddy who, when I go down to his basement, he's in Long Island, but he's a nostalgia freak as well. So he has a lot of toys from growing up and everything, and he's got like a case of the Voltron stuff, and I just
Oh,
like stare at it. Like I want to take it out and
let me
you
play
know,
with it.
yeah, yeah. So that's one. I recently finally got the Fright Zone again, thanks to a buddy, and that was on my list for re-getting. You know,
Because you had like your original box for it, right? But the rest of it was like in pieces.
in pieces in Wellsville at my house where I grew up in. Yeah, it was like it
Oh
was
man,
trash, like so many of those toys. I just I played with that stuff.
I almost am like a few years ago. I was all about recollecting toys that I didn't have and didn't love, but now it's like I would almost rather have some of those masters boxes than the actual toys. Like, I just think those are so nostalgic. But
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
I'm at the point where I'm like busting at the seams with nostalgia behind me. So I'm like, what do I want to get rid of so I can put something else? There's like a few things on my list that are like my grails that I never got as a kid, and it's the Ghostbuster Firehouse, which is just like so pricey now. I had a chance to get one with the box like 5 or 6 years ago. The guy just wanted like $120 or something. Now it's like 500, 600.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, kicking myself. But that and a Millennium Falcon, which I never got as a kid. So those two things are like kind of on that list as like maybe one day. But they're also so huge. It's like, where am I going to put a firehouse in this room? But
You find a way.
yeah, there. I did find a way to put the gray skull out. So maybe I'll find a way to get that in here. But yeah, but those two things are really like, I was a kid that didn't get a lot of play sets. Like I had Castle Grayskull, but um I got like a ton of action figures from all these lines that I love, and that's my memory is like my parents really spoiled me with the figures, but I didn't get much in way of play sets, you
Mm,
know.
yeah.
Um so yeah, as far as like Christmas memories, like it's weird now as like I grew up in the Midwest in Minnesota, and kind of I live in the South now, and not really family around, and it's just me and my immediate family, my son and wife. And Christmas is a lot different as you get older. You really realize like, where did all those gatherings of 200 people go? Like growing up, like going to my grandma's and all the cousins and aunts and uncles all around. So yeah, we were always like Christmas Eve at grandma's. There's a million people, and then Christmas Day at home with your family. Um, I miss those times. I'm lucky enough to have a few Christmases on videotape from those Christmas Eves, so those are fun to break out. Um, but yeah, my my uncle imbibing in the drink and playing Santa for everyone. But yeah, it was just fun times, man. I still have those memories. So like growing up, loving Christmas, and bringing it home to raise my own son and give him that magic. It's just awesome. So I'm
Yeah,
a
that was
sucker for all of it, the movies and putting on. I've watched Ernest Saves Christmas a couple times already this month. But yeah, I love this time of year. It's sad that it's so fast and furious. Like you blink and it's done, but and then it seems like you got to wait for like the next year. I say like, oh, the year went so fast, but it's like once you hit January, it's like, man, it's 12 months till Christmas. Like, yeah, but I'm excited. It's fun to talk about it too, like reminisce about it. Like growing, like I guess the gifts that I got that were like the grails that you received were those big moments, like Nintendo, Super Nintendo, like
yeah,
um, just like different, like the large gift was always the one I remember. Castle Grayskull, like. But then it's cool to look back at photos. Like I know I was hearing you recently on one of your episodes talk about like all the photos you lost or didn't get, weren't able to get. But hopefully you have a good handful of them that you can look at. Cause man, like looking at some, I have some that it's like, oh, I can see my haul from that year. It's like, oh, that's amazing.
yeah. It was a like our family was definitely man, we took pictures, you know? And that's why it always pisses me off when I talk about it on these videos because, like, I know of the pictures that we had. I can remember all of
Some of
these
them
pictures,
vividly.
and there's so many that I would love to, 1, just have back in my life, and 2, show on the videos and stuff, but they're
Well, wait,
gone now. They
just
are
wait,
gone.
man. Chat, AI is gonna let you describe it and upload your photo, and it'll make it for you.
I know, that's what I mean, because like, yeah, I they're gone. They're just gone.
Yeah.
I don't wanna get into why they're gone,
Yeah,
but they're gone, and it's it's
that's fun.
very sad for me. It's really emotional. So, like, what I have is what I have, you know, um, other than my memory.
Yeah, but I mean, I had that too. Like my dad had a camcorder. I know we had tons of VHS and of things recorded, and I'm like, where did they go? I have like 2 tapes. Where are the rest of them? But it was like that with photos too. I remember specific photo albums. That's like, where did those go? I know
Yeah,
that they existed,
I know. It's
but
terrible
yeah,
for our side.
I wish
And
we had would have had the common sense to like archive those things as teenagers to like be like, I'm hanging on to all of this because like even going into like my toys, like one day my mom's like, oh yeah, I sold all your toys like in a garage sale. Like I'm like, what?
luckily, nobody did that for me. They all
Yeah.
stayed in my room in Wellsville. It's just like I said, a lot of them were destroyed, or I gave them to River. River destroyed them, and then when I got wise, I started taking them back from River.
I am going to have to take these back now.
Yeah, yeah. He didn't care. He didn't. Uh, yeah, I think part of the fun, if you are a parent, is giving your kid that Christmas. Giving
Yeah.
your kid that same feeling. Unfortunately for me, like, I envy you because he's still a youngin, and mine is about to be 18.
Oh wow.
So he's not the most gregarious, talkative, jovial. He's a angsty turd. Um,
You got
so
an adult dude.
so Christmas really isn't a big thing for him right now. It'll
Yeah.
come back around, but man, he used to love Christmas, and I help facilitate that magic for him.
It's gonna come back too. He's gonna remember those times, and then he's gonna be like that, just
He
like we.
will. I know he will. I know he
Yeah.
will. But for me, I never lost my love of it. So it was a real thrill to sort of not only have my passion and love for Christmas, but to experience that and watch it through my son's eyes,
Yeah.
and make the whole Santa thing a reality, and watch that sort of flourish and grow until it didn't. But in my heart, Santa is this is a house that believes. So,
Yes, yes.
you know,
It needs to be as long as it can be. Just
right.
the magic. I think it's all about the magic of it all. That's what it is. Santa
Yeah,
Claus is that feeling, you know. But
yeah.
man, next
Yep.
week it's almost here.
I know. It is. It's a week. I'm
Uh,
hoping for snow. That's my thing.
oh yeah, it's been what oddly enough here it's like thunderstorming today. It's been raining all day. I have
We've had a mix of rain and snow. Early December was amazing. Early December, we got a nice big batch of it,
oh
and
that's
I
cool.
was like, "Yay!" Because I love snow during December, and that's
Yeah,
it. Any other time, it can, you
go
know,
away, kick
yeah,
rocks.
yeah, that's right. But it helps with the atmosphere
The feel,
all
man.
around. Yeah.
Yeah, like I see that it might be raining on Christmas here, and I'm just like, what? That is not
It
Christmas.
looks like there's about a 40% chance of snow on Christmas Eve
Nice.
here, so I'm really hoping that it does, you know? Just I wanna be able to look out the window and just see some snowfall, you know?
Yeah.
Um,
Puts you in the
Close to
mood.
Christmas. Yeah, 100%. Drink that hot cocoa, put on the fire, watch a Rankin& and Bass special. Hell yeah.
Yes.
Alright.
Man, it's been a blast. We could talk all day, but
There we go, guys.
yeah.
We did it. We talked Christmas. We talked Black Christmas. We talked Silent Night, Deadly Night.
Billy.
Hope you got some nostalgia, folks. Um,
But yeah, also, we're gonna cross promote this here conversation. So everyone go watch it. Crept from the '80s. If you're finding this on, oh, I had that. The Sievage, Chris
right.
Seaver, Crept from the '80s on, and Warlock Home Video on Instagram.
That's right. That's
I
right,
love
folks.
following you. Yeah, it's been a blast, like finding your content and watching the back catalog on YouTube over the last few years. Some great stuff. You've been at this a while, so
Thank you, my friend. Thanks, folks. Hope you have a tremendous holiday. Hope Santa brings you everything that you want. Hope happy, healthy families and good, fun, cheerful times. The world needs it. The world needs it. So that's it.
until we meet again. Yes.
Ho ho
Oh,
ho.
I hope you enjoyed that conversation. Give Chris a follow at it Crept from the '80s. And if you're new to the channel, please click subscribe, click the notification bell. Until next time, I'm not asking you, I'm telling you, stay soaked in nostalgia.
Oh, I had that back in the 80s and 90s when everything was better. Oh, I had that. That's what you say when you're watching